Hormones Balance community, and welcome to another live with me. Love to talk about the skin today. One thing is that our products are back in stock. I know. We had several months that we were out of stock. Production during COVID has given a completely different meaning to everything, and so we were out of stock for a while, but everything is back in stock. So I know many of you were pretty disappointed and asking us a lot, and so that's the good news, is everything is back in stock. But I want to talk a little bit more about broader spectrum of things instead of just skincare and products itself, because I feel like there's so much that impacts your skin that is more than just the skincare that you're using. And I know it's probably bad for my business to say that. Like, hey, skincare, like I've got the skincare here and that's all you need. Well, that's not true. And I'll be lying if I was to say that, just a product alone is gonna fix your skin issues. So let's talk a little bit about just taking care of your skin after age 45. Because you will see there is a lot of changes start happening. Like once you turn 45, you might have noticed that the plumpness is not the same and the wrinkles are more prominent, and and there's a certain level of dryness and thinness to the skin. And so there's a lot of things that can impact your skin quality. And so I feel like I don't need to convince you very much, because you guys are my audience and you believe in functional medicine and addressing the root cause of a problem to address a problem. You're probably not interested in, quick fixes, and there are some quick fixes to skincare. I'm not gonna deny that, but sometimes you need to dig around a little bit more to figure out what is causing your skin issues. So let's dive into this today. And while you're listening, let us know what kind of skin problems are you experiencing. What would you like me to talk about? And I will get to it. It's a very personal topic for me, because I had, as a young girl, so it started off, your usual teenage years, I had cystic acne. And so I was covered on my face. I had it especially around my cheeks here on the sides. I had it on my chest. I had it on my arms right here. I had it on my back. I even had it on my buttocks, believe it or not. And I grew up in a tropical country, so you wear clothing like this every time. You do a lot of pool parties, and you spend a lot of time at the swimming pool. And so you're kind of like half naked all the time, right? And you've got like, I had zits all over my body. That was just super embarrassing. So it was, I think in my mid-20s it was a combination of things. One is I remember seeing an article that popped out in my search, and that said that gluten is bread causing your acne. And I was like, I never would have made the connection between food and quality of skin. And so that was like the beginning of my journey I eliminated gluten, and then suddenly not only my skin improved and then the acne went away, but also my headaches went away. My PMS became much lighter. I had terrible migraines, you guys. I mean, I could never leave the house without a painkiller in my bag because of all these food sensitivities, right? And then, but not all my skin problems stopped. And so after that, I did a food sensitivity testing, and it turned out that eggs were my problem. And when I eliminated eggs, that's when 100% of my skin really cleared. So that was a really huge aha moment for me. When you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, you kind of feel invincible, and all these kind of dietary changes is not particularly appealing. But that was my first, I think, appreciation or realization that the quality of my skin depends on so much of what I'm putting on the inside, what's happening on the inside of my body. Your skin is the visible reflection of what's going on the inside of your body. So if you're having thinning skin, dry skin, you're having psoriasis, you've got eczema going on, right? All of those conditions can be highly correlated with things that are happening on the inside. So that's really what I want to help to bring your attention to this. And by the way, there's a great summit that's going on right now. If you have like chronic, psoriasis and eczema and other inflammatory skin conditions, there's a great summit that's going on. Alexandra, if we can if we can post the link to the summit that's currently going on with Dr. Eric Zielinski, that will be awesome. I forgot about that one, but yeah, that's a good one to check out. But you don't have to listen to a summit only. I mean, there are certain things you can do right off the bat. So let us know what kind of help do you need with your skin, and I'm gonna try to address it. And right off the bat, I want to just talk about a few things. And so we actually sent out an email about that for reasons for dry skin, but okay, so let's so since I've been talking about food, right, and has any one of you here realized that, have found a connection between like the food that you're eating and how it's impacting your skin? Have you found a connection ever? Whether it's, and that doesn't have to be pimples and cystic acne or acne. It can be a lot of other things. So like, for example, when I talk about food sensitivity, so my sister has had dry skin on her hands for years and years and years. And I've never seen such an elaborate collection of creams and salves in her bathroom, in anybody's bathroom for that matter. She's tried every single cream that was out there, from like prescription stuff all the way to, her friend making stuff for her because it was guaranteed to work, with all sorts of weird ingredients and strange oils in it. And nothing was helping. And, it has happened, as it happens with a lot of family members, and I'm sure you've experienced it yourself. If you've gone on this health journey, you might have realized, wow, this diet change is helping me. Like it's helped me so many different ways, health-wise, right? And then, so your enthusiasm becomes sort of, very contagious, and then you want to get a lot of other people in your life on board with that as well. And the truth is that people who are sometimes closest to us, are like, they put on a wall. They're like, whoa, don't tell me what to eat and what not to eat, right? And so I had the same experience with my sister, and it took years and years and years of me actually shutting up. I had to shut up and stop talking and telling her what to do, and live by example, and then allowing her to come to me and ask me for an opinion. So what happened was, she basically eliminated gluten and dairy, and realized that her hands were like beautiful and smooth, and hey, you guys, when I say my sister had dry skin, I am talking about like cracks on the skin. I'm talking about red, inflamed, and she would, hands, right? And then she would always blame it on, say like, oh, I'm a busy mom and I do so much washing, which was not true, because they have a dishwasher, and she has a husband and 3 kids who are self-sufficient, and they do be doing a lot of dishwashing. So there was always a lot of excuses behind it. And I think the truth was that she just didn't want to make the dietary change. So ever since my sister stopped eating dairy and gluten, that was her 2 biggest triggers, gluten being the biggest one, the number one, her hands became completely healed, and no more cracks, no more dryness, no more inflammation, redness, and all of that stuff. In fact, she threw away most of the creams and doesn't use any of that today. So that's just, so that's my sister's story. I told you about my story with acne. So really on the inside, what's happening, it can be huge. So for those of you who if you're having dry skin, you're having a lot of inflammation, you're having eczema, you're having, all eczema treatments, if you listen to the summit, all eczema treatments really start on the inside, on the body, and not just applying topical stuff. Topical, I find, can be super helpful, but it's not going to heal your inflammatory conditions of the skin. And dry skin can be one of them. So what does that mean in terms of food sensitivities? I think the easiest thing to do is for you to start off by doing the elimination diet. So cut out all the inflammatory foods that we know about today, which is dairy, gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, corn, and whatever else that that might be bothering you, right? So maybe, for some of you, you might be sensitive to nuts and seeds. For other people, it could be, some specific food, like maybe a banana could be an issue. Some people, it's the beef that's causing them to have issues. So when you eliminate these, you will see that if skin is your issue, because remember, one of the tricky things about food sensitivities is that you might be having a problem with gluten and I have a problem with gluten, but your symptoms are so different from my symptoms, right? Like I'll get PMS and headaches and cystic acne, where you might be having ringing in the ears, horrible headaches and hair loss, right? And weight gain, right? Which I might not be getting. So it's so tricky. Same food, completely different reactions. So I really want to encourage you to consider doing the full elimination diet and Both my books, Cooking for Balance, as well as my latest book called Overcoming Estrogen Dominance, are all the recipes, as well as our Hormones Balance website. The entire website, all the recipes are based on the elimination diet. So we don't use those ingredients in the cooking, just showing you an array of other things too you can use so you don't ever feel deprived, okay? So start off with that. And I'm wondering, has any one of you here had that experience of getting on the elimination diet and maybe you have realized that dryness on not just your skin, on your face, but maybe your just overall body has improved. Your hands have improved. Like you don't need to wear lotion anymore. Like you know, your skin is really nice and moist without having to use moisturizers. In fact, let me tell you, whenever I make moisturizers for myself, I tend to give them either away or they go bad because I barely use them. I sometimes use them a little bit more in winter because I live in Colorado and it's really, really dry up here. So with a heating system on in winter, I sometimes use them. But generally, my skin tends to be very supple, and moist naturally without using any external stuff. So anyway, so that's that's the first thing. Second thing I want to talk about is, if we can just put the Alexandra factor number 2, is your hydration. So hydration and skin is a huge one. It's, you know, when I was in private practice, I was pretty amazed at how many women are actually very dehydrated without realizing this. And one of the ways dehydration manifests is actually fatigue. Another one is the quality of your skin. So I want to tell you like a little funny story. So I used to date a guy who's now my best friend. And so he hit, I think he's 62 now. So when he hit 60, his skin started changing and he didn't like it. And so he realized that when he drank, he's a big guy, so he drinks a lot of water in the morning, but he drinks 2 quarts of water. You don't need to do that. Even if you just do 1 quart first thing in the morning, and then add some electrolytes to it, right? To allow the water to get into the cells, because electrolytes really help you to get that. You might feel a very different quality of your skin. So for example, he has realized that when he drinks 2 quarts of water first thing in the morning before eating anything, you can literally see it on his skin. Like all the lines here on his face completely disappear. It's pretty magnificent. The reason why I always talk about electrolytes is because water a lot of times just flows through us. If you are deficient in electrolytes, so things like that's your sodium, potassium, magnesium in there as well, and that can really tremendously help with delivery. It's a delivery mechanism to the cells, and so then the cells really benefit from that water. We have a couple of electrolytes in our store, including Mineral Restore. It's a really great one. So that's something that you might want to consider. And the thing is that most people really under drink water, or you drink too little water. And so there's a really great indicator I want to give you. Some of you might have heard this before, but I want to give you a new formula. So you take your weight, that's in pounds. So let's just say you have 140 pounds. You are 140 pounds, right? You take 140 pounds, and the old formula says half of that in ounces is how much you should be drinking, which says 70 ounces what you should be drinking. I actually don't like that. You should be drinking 2/3 of your body weight. I have found that to be far more effective, and even more so if you are in high altitude, if you're in a very dry place like Arizona, or if you're doing a lot of sports and you're perspiring a ton, then you should be doing probably 1-to-1. But 2/3 is a good indicator. So one more time, 140 pounds, if that's what your weight is, do it times 2/3, whatever is the amount, then is probably going to be like 110, I'm assuming. So 110 ounces is what you want to be drinking throughout the day. For those of you who are in Europe, I know this is kind of mind-bending, so just do a bit of pull out a calculator and change your, there is no easy calculation from kilograms to in liters that I know of. So just bear with me and do that calculation. And of course, the bigger you are, the more water you're going to end up drinking. So that's a really great one. How many of you here have found that that there is a difference between like when you are hydrated versus when you are dehydrated? I personally don't find that changes my skin a ton, but it does change my it does change my energy level. So if I'm dehydrated, I tend to get a headache, and especially at night, I get dryness on my lips, and then I get really tired. And so that's how I know I'm dehydrated. I'm wondering how many of you here do you guys know about that? Okay, let's talk about dry indoor air. So that's another one that really can impact your skin quality. And during especially summer, but also winter is even more so of a problem. It's a simple fix. All you have to do is just add a humidifier into your life, and then you'll see it's gonna make a huge difference. Actually, humidifiers can also help not just with dry skin and your skin quality, but also can help you a ton with your whole respiratory system, and you might find yourself coughing a lot less and having a lot less sore throats and irritation to your respiratory system. So just a double benefit of that. I'm going to talk about hormones here. It's actually something that is also a huge connector to skin quality. So there's a few hormones that will impact your quality of skin. The first one is estrogen. So for those of you who are, when you're touching 45 and above, estrogen and testosterone start dropping. And both of those hormones testosterone gets converted to estrogen, so they kind of come together as a package. So I would say there's two main hormones that will impact your skin quality. One is estrogen, the testosterone estrogen combo. The other one is your thyroid hormone is gonna really, the aging is so much faster when you have a low thyroid function. So let's come back to thyroid in a second. But for estrogen and testosterone, there is a couple of things that you can do. Testosterone is produced in adrenals in women. In men is in testes, in women is in your ovaries. And so, having sufficient testosterone is produced by adrenals in women. And so a lot of times women ask us, who should I work with to put me on testosterone and DHEA? You can do that. Work up with a practitioner who will do that. Always start off with the lowest doses possible, like 5 milligrams of DHEA if you really must. But if you don't want to go to bioidentical hormone route, you can also use things like flax seeds. There's different herbs that have estrogenic properties, such as red clover is slightly estrogenic. For those of you who can tolerate soy, organic soy lecithins are the highest in phytoestrogens, so naturally occurring estrogens, are some really great solutions for plumping up your skin by adding natural estrogens that way. The thyroid connection and skin is huge too. A lot of women who start having thyroid problems also start feeling like they've started aging a lot quicker too. So that's another consideration here. And it's too short. I have too much to say about the thyroid. There's also my personal story, Hashimoto's and low thyroid. So it's only so much. I don't want to spend too much talking about it. But if you go on hormonesbalance.com, we have a ton of resources about the thyroid and how to test properly, how to rule it out. Your skin is so dry skin is something that is hugely connected typically to very low thyroid, and if you couple that up with other symptoms such as hair loss, your nails start breaking and you have ridges on the vertical ridges on your nails. Your eyebrows start falling out, your eyelashes start falling out. You've got swelling on the thyroid, you've got a lot of fatigue, your hair is falling out, your skin is dry, right? You suddenly start having depression and anxiety, you're constipated like never before. Those are some of the indications that if you also seeing that dry skin and quicker aging, have your thyroid checked out. And please use the test that we specify on our website, a complete test in thyroid labs, because it's one of the reasons why it's a highly underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed condition in the country is because doctors run a very incomplete test and conclude that you don't have a thyroid problem, where actually, you might, when you do complete testing, you work with somebody who really understands the thyroid, you might realize that it's actually thyroid was the issue. And if you want to do a test yourself, we have a agreement that we've entered with yourlabwork.com, and you can order all your thyroid numbers without having to argue and beg and negotiate with your provider. So the URL has just been posted online. Is the yourlabwork.com/hormonesbalancelabs. you can check it out there. There's a whole complete thyroid pedal there. So hormones, right? So hormones can play a very big role in your skin. And I will say the last one, so as you can see, everything that I'm talking so far about, right? Diet, hydration, hormones, internal, right? What you do on the inside in order to have beautiful skin. The dry air thing, easy fix, but also it's gonna be less impactful. The last thing that what you do, which is most of us focus on that first, is, and that was my, my approach too, and my sister too, right? I've got dry skin. I slather myself, with so much oil and salves and creams and hope for the best, right? It wasn't working. When I had zits, I had, can't remember the name of that pimple cream that every teenager is using. Oxy, I think, was, right? Was that the one? Is that what it's in the US? I think different brands, different countries or regions have different brand names. Anyway, there was a pimple cream. I'll always be covered in that. And that wasn't doing anything for me, right? It was just drying it out. And then 2 days later, I have another one popping out, another one. It's like little volcanoes everywhere, right? So until, and that didn't go away until I changed my diet, right? And so I hope you appreciate that, what I'm talking about. But having said that, when you do the baseline and do a lot of internal work on yourself, your skin will start speaking out and you really gonna start feeling the difference. Then I feel like then you use a safe skincare line, excuse me, then you're really gonna find the benefits. Your skin is gonna be good with the diet internal changes, and then it's gonna go from good to amazing and great and glowing when you start using external solutions. So, the skincare line that we have is called Welena. That's the brand here. By the way, we are working on a rebrand to add more colors to our labels. And one of the most popular products we have in store is called the Vitamin C Serum. So this one right here. The whole line is organic, so it's USDA organic. And as you can see, it's like brown in color. The reason why it's brown in color is because we are using amla. Amla is also, it goes by Indian gooseberry, and it is in the ORAC score. It's got is the second ingredient in the world with the highest antioxidant properties, and that happens because of vitamin C. So vitamin C is just so amazing, and so a couple of benefits with vitamin C and the amla. That's why we call it the amla line, is because it's high in, it smells really nice. It's got like the citrusy sort of smell to it. And so the reason why we decided to go with amla is because vitamin C, the high vitamin C dosage that occurs naturally, I prefer to use naturally occurring vitamin C, excuse me, for the skin as compared to synthetic, because the absorption is so much better. Sorry, I need to get some water. A couple of things. It happens, so vitamin C helps you with production of collagen, and formation of collagen on the skin. Some of you might know that whenever you do collagen added, for example, to smoothies from a collagen powder, many women have experience of having a lot plumper skin, and so that could be one thing. The other thing is that vitamin C is it reduces a lot of dark spots on the face, like just aging spots. It smooths things out that way. It's also hugely anti-inflammatory, which basically means that if you have, I've had a number of, I will say, so let me just back up a little bit. One of the biggest surprises ever since we launched our Amla skincare, or the Welena skincare line, was that so many of you have told us that you're a lot of like redness, irritation that you used to have with a lot of other products have gone away. And I wasn't really expecting that, to be honest. We wanted to put out a really clean, honest skincare line, because that was the number one thing you guys were asking about. Like every end of the year, we do a sort of an intake feedback from you guys, asking what other content would you want to see from us? What other products would you want to see from us? What other partners can we bring in forward here and get discounts on as a community? And skincare was the number one thing that came back. And so this is the reason why we decided to go into making our own skincare line. And so where this was interesting was that, I just wanted to put out there a really nice, clean skincare line. But I didn't realize that how many of you actually, the major feedback we've been getting is the reduction of inflammatory responses on the skin. So I think that happens because we are just not using, we don't greenwash. We don't use any funky ingredients in it that strip you, for example, of oils. Our cleanser is really delicate. In a couple of months, I'm going to be talking about how skincare changes the pH on your skin, which is hugely important. It's like pH in your body. You have a pH on your skin too. So we're going to be talking about that. And ours doesn't change it at all, which is super important. So it's something I'm going to be talking about in the future. But yeah, so the skincare line is back. And in case you haven't tried it yet, one of the things you can do is get the sample kit. It comes in this organic fair trade baggie. And what it does have is it has these 3 sample bottles. So they're just like these cutesy bootsy little bottles like this. And that will last you for about 5 days. So it should give you a pretty good indication of whether you like it. And so you get a night moisturizer, you get the vitamin C serum, and you get the cleanser, which are some of the top products. And it's a very, very inexpensive way of just finding out whether this is a right product for you, right? So and you get the baggie here as well. So from there, then you can just, you can decide on whether you want to get then the full set. And then we have the full set contains 5 products. Okay, so that's what we have. Let me just take a quick look at, see what questions we have. Tap water doesn't hydrate me. I'm sure it's because of all the chemicals in it, stops from absorbing properly. I wouldn't say that so first of all, I don't think anybody should be drinking tap water. Well, it depends kind of what country you're from. If it's in the United States, I wouldn't even touch tap water. I don't even touch tap water in restaurants if that's what they serve. And most good restaurants now have filters. Tap water in the United States is terrible. Not only does it contain fluoride, which back in the 50s was given to people to slow down the thyroid, but also it contains antidepressants, it contains heavy metals. I mean, the list just goes on. You don't want to touch that. So invest in a good water filter to get that. I'll do one other question. My TSH went from 3.95 February to 5.7 on my last blood work. Last week, my doctor wanted to prescribe meds, but I declined. Can I delay taking prescription meds and try the thyroid protocol? You absolutely can, Veronica. And I would want to point you to my good friend's website, Dr. Isabella Wenz, the thyroid pharmacist. She's got a ton of books she has written about how to manage this. And look, here's the thing. Thyroid could be that you can avoid going on medications. That was my story. I'm not on any thyroid meds, even though the doctor obviously had nothing else to offer, so she wanted to put me on that. And so the crucial thing about that is to see whether you also have Hashimoto's disease and ruling that out, because Hashimoto's is basically when the immune system attacks your thyroid, right? And so sometimes if you've had Hashimoto's for a very long time and your thyroid tissue is damaged, then your own body's ability to produce thyroid hormones might not be there, but it might be. So you need to figure that part out. That's really, really important. And there's nothing wrong with being like on very small doses on thyroid. It's actually not thyroid medication, it's thyroid replacement therapy, and just going on that for a while and see so that you feel better. And then in the meantime, do a lot of dietary and supplemental changes, or adding some supplements to your protocol to really address that. But yeah, Dr. Wenz is like really the expert on thyroid, and I'll suggest to follow her on that. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. Let me see this one here. I will take the treatment and get on the protocol and try to wing myself off. Okay, great. I hope this is helpful, you guys, on some of the things. And if you're watching this on replay, do post on, let us know what kind of skin conditions are you experiencing. And I hope some of those pointers has helped you, because it is, I totally get it, how frustrating it is. Skin is something that is just such a big part of our beauty. It's so visible to everybody, including ourselves, and our self-esteem, and just our whole, I don't know, just like the perception of self really changes when the skin starts changing. Our age starts showing, right, and all of that. So there's a lot of great things you can do to really maintain your skin quality. And the last other thing I didn't talk so much about, but when does your skin look the best? It's when you slept really, really well, right? Like, I think that's like the point number 5 in this whole talk today, was just like sleep, getting really good quality sleep. So we're gonna be talking. Make sure you're on our mailing list. If you're not, go to hormonesbalance.com, sign up to our mailing list. There's an email that just went out about fixing your sleep. And that's when you really feel amazing, right? I mean, this is like no skincare products, no amount of supplements is going to replace really high quality sleep. And you can tell that on your skin. You can just tell that from your face, how amazing you look. So don't forget about getting some really high quality sleep. We talked about this in our newsletter, I think a week ago. And then there's a new article that I'm finishing up right now about sleep and different ways of hacking your sleep. Some of the new things that I am working on. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for being here today. Thank you for your questions, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.